We are here on the set of Outcast with creator Robert Kirkman, executive producer David Alpert, and Wrenn Schmidt, who plays Megan. All right, guys, so we've got some fan questions. Where does your inspiration come from to write such amazing stories?
Mostly 80s cartoons, Transformers, things like that. No, I'm kidding. I don't know. I don't know where it comes from. I mean, I get bored very easily, and so I'm constantly thinking of various different things. I mean, it's a really hard question to answer. I don't really know where stuff happens from. I don't know.
I'm just going to jump in for a second. I've worked with Robert now it's been about 15 years, and people meet him. They're like, he seems so nice. He seems like such a good, normal person. Where does all that darkness come from? And I think he works his demons out on the page, and that allows him to sort of just be normal the rest of his life.
Yeah, it's all done. It's all, yeah.
What are some of the funniest moments on set? Maybe that's for...
Is that a me thing?
Go, Wrenn, go.
Well, lately, PHILLIP, GLENISTER, and I have been throwing around the idea of Outcast the musical. So
Tell me more.
So one of our favorite things to do, since we get to work together more this year, is just to come up with the most ludicrous, like, musical versions of what the show would be. But usually it's like a parody on well-known stuff. So for instance, I think one of Phil's favorites is standing on the corner watching all the demons go by. So there's that one.
Please don't ever do that again.
I was trying to imitate Phil. That's how Phil sings.
It was a pretty good Phil, actually. That was,
thank you.
Yeah,
My favorite is...
I appreciate it more now that I know it was supposed to be an impression of Phil.
Yeah.
Why did you guys choose West Virginia for setting the series in?
If you've ever been to West Virginia, it's this picturesque, beautiful landscape, rolling hills, trees for miles. But then at night it gets dark, and it's the scariest place you've ever been in your life. You're like, I'm in the woods, and it's terrifying. And so I thought that would be a great location for a horror thing.
What made you choose the iconic Philip Glenister for the role of the Reverend?
Bribery.
Stealing British people.
The accent,
That's
right?
true. Yeah, no, we always check off, are they British? Wrenn came in with a British accent and fooled us, which was very frustrating. But it's always British people or people from The Wire. So yeah, no, Phil, he tested fairly early in the process, and was cast almost immediately. I mean, he came in and, there's always just something intangible that you're looking for during the casting process. And Phil, being from the UK, was just exactly what we were looking for in a Reverend from the Deep South. So just nailed it, from the get-go. I'll tell you this much, though. When it came to the casting process, I do have a huge regret, and that is casting Patrick Fugit. He just doesn't... Why did we cast you, Patrick?
By the way, he's been talking about this.
Did you know you were going to do this?
Emil and Topher were unavailable.
I'm going to jump back to an old question now that you're here, because we asked, someone on the internet asked earlier what the funniest moment on set has been.
Anytime Phil is around on set and he has a lot of dialogue, that's pretty funny. The thoughts he shares with us on that sort of thing is...
Because he doesn't like the dialogue?
Humorous, yeah. No, he loves the dialogue.
I think it's more about the amount,
yeah,
right?
It's the amount. He's always like, we've got to reduce it. I say too much, and I don't like all this exorcism bit, but then...
I could do with the look.
It's in the rushes and that sort of
thing.
Can
I just say your impression of Phil is horrible? It's just absolutely horrible.
It's like a general British. That works.
Will the books continue to drive the arc of the show with obvious liberties like in season 1, or will they go in different directions?
I think that to a certain extent they will go in slightly different directions. I think that the story of the comic books will always drive the story of the show, but so much has changed by the end of season 1 that there are large chunks of story that need to be addressed that aren't necessarily from the comics, and so it'll continue much like The Walking Dead in that you can enjoy both of them separately, but you'll get a little bit of a multi-layered story if you read the comic and watch the show, but they can both be enjoyed independently, and all of the differences keep me excited. So it'll be more different sometimes, but then every now and then we'll surprise you with a scene from the comics and you'll be like, whoa, I didn't expect that. So it'll be cool.
Can we expect more OMG moments in series 2 like there were in series 1?
Yeah, I mean,
It's a much more intense season, though. I mean, there's
is.
a faster pace to a certain extent, and definitely bigger moments peppered throughout.
The thing that I like too is we've got a mix of things that happen to characters where you kind of say, "Oh my god," but then there's also like, I mean, I don't want to give anything away, but the dead body van thing that we're doing today is on a broader arc, like a pretty huge, at least in my opinion, pretty huge "oh my god" moment.
Not counting the kids. Who is really the biggest kid on this cast?
I feel like it's a cage match between Patrick, Phil, and Reg.
We get serious. It's not a lot of time to act like a kid, but when the kids do come around, they're like a little power assist. Particularly this little one, Maddie McGraw. I scared her in the Kyle Barnes house. Did you tell them about that?
So a couple of days ago, we were in the Barnes house, and I was just walking and coming back from my bedroom, which used to be his bedroom, and I was just walking back, and he went like this. The mic close to your mouth. And he went like this. And but like scarier, like scary. Yes.
I would hope.
And I screamed so loud. It was crazy how loud I screamed.
She, like, when we were filming last season, she would take my flashlight and we'd walk around the Kyle Barnes house because it's a creepy place. And I scared her one time and she was like, "Ah, do it again." And so we spent like 2 days of filming, and she would grab my flashlight and then she'd be like, go scare me, which of course, you know, kind of waters down the effect of the scare. But
I'm going to be scared any minute. This is so exciting.
Exactly. This time I caught her. It was the first time this season, and she had no idea it was coming. And she screamed for like 5 seconds, going from standing to clutching her face to down on her knees. Like the most scared I think I've ever seen anybody.
We're kind of already on this. What are your best memories so far working on the show, both off screen and on?
I was on set one time and Patrick left.
Yeah. I share a fondness for that memory. I like when Robert comes on. Robert comes here and he's like, yeah, hey, I'm here. And then, yeah, you guys are doing a great job. He doesn't say that to me. He says that to Wrenn and everybody else, and then he leaves. And then we're lost.
You're lost without me.
Yeah.
That would be a sorry state of things.
Yeah.
I had a great time on the pilot with Adam Wingard. I mean, it was the most time I spent on set. I was there for like a solid 4 years, it felt. And it was a lot of fun. It was very cold, but it was great getting to, see how that guy worked and, figuring out how this show's going to be and all that kind of fun stuff, getting to know everybody. So that was a good time.
I had a really great time at our table read this season. At the beginning of our season, it was the first time, I guess, that everybody had kind of been in the same room again. Mm-hmm. And getting to feel that energy was really cool because sometimes our stories don't overlap. So, it's unusual for us all to be in the same place along with our showrunner and our, the director for that episode and a lot of other creative people. So that's really exciting. And I also just love it when people lose it on set and laughing fits. Those are like always my favorite days when like that's what's happening when we're not rolling is when people are just silly. You know something about that, don't you?
In between takes, me and Patrick will do all these stunts that we technically make up. And I'll do a trust fall from a top of a something
off the porch.
Yeah, off a porch, and I'll run and I'll jump and then he'll catch me and then
every time so far.
So far, let's hope I get catched every time. And sometimes I'll run backwards and I'll do it. That's when I'm most scared of.
Patrick, can we talk about this?
It's all adult supervised.
There's 5 stuntmen involved.
Yeah.
And he'll catch me, but he'll always be like, oh my gosh, that was so close to you falling off. I'm like, please catch me every time. And then this one time I did it closing my eyes, so it was even more scarier. and I jumped off like high, and he swung me back onto the perch, and I was like, oh my gosh, my heart just dropped. It was scary.
All right. Well, thanks, guys. Thank you so much for joining us here on the internet. Everybody else, make sure to check out Outcast on iTunes and on Max Go and Max On Demand and on Steam. And make sure to check out Cinemax for season 2. Lots of OMG moments.
Oh my God, so many OMG.
So many.